Do-ga-do-ga-do. All right, we have on the show today David Medansky. He's a retired divorce attorney, international best-selling author, and America's newest authority for healthy, sustainable weight loss. But listen to this. He lost within 4 months 50 pounds, 25% of his body weight. You're going to get to hear his journey and what he's doing for the community to lose weight. David, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Aaron.
I'm so pumped to hear your story because we're on the same page with this weight loss stuff. But before we dive in, tell us a little bit about yourself. Married, kids, what do you like doing for fun? And most importantly, what gets you up in the morning?
Well, I am happily married, got a beautiful wife who's my angel, and we have 2 dogs and a cat. And I have 2 kids, 2 daughters, both are grown. And what gets me up in the morning is wanting to stay healthy and be active and help other people attain good health so they can be active and healthy.
I love it. And, I saw your before and after pics. You look like like a Jack LaLanne lookalike now. Now you transformed your body. You look healthy. You look great. But you go from being an attorney, I'm sure, is a stressful life. It can be. Tell us your journey. I read your story, and it's quite intriguing. Tell us your journey. How did you get into this weight loss industry?
In July of 2016, at age 61, my doctor told me, based on my lab results and being overweight, I had a 95% chance for a heart attack. So he gave me 2 options, lose weight or find a new doctor, because he didn't want me dying on his shift. He told me I was a ticking time bomb. So during the next 4 months, with that sword hanging over my head, I shed 50 pounds, 25% of my body weight, and want to help other people along the way. Being a former divorce attorney, I started researching. Now, like most people my age, when I was younger, I was always fit and trim. But like most of us, life gets in the way. And before you realize it, the weight creeps up. And that's how I went to 225 pounds. So I started looking at my books that I have from the 1970s by Paul and Patricia Bragg, Jack LaLanne, Richard Simmons, and other people, Sugar Blues by William Duffy, and started reading some of the current books out there and realized that the current authors were given inaccurate or misleading information about healthy weight loss. And that's the difference between what a lot of people are doing with weight loss and healthy weight loss. So I wrote my first book, Discover Your Thinner Self, to talk about my journey and give people the mental, emotional, and psychological aspects of losing weight. After that book came out, I realized I can do a lot better, and that's how I came up with the second one, If Not Now, When? Reduce Weight, Create a Healthy Lifestyle in 90 Days. And one of the fun chapters I had was applying Vince Lombardi's principles from football to weight loss and being motivated and commitment and what it takes to follow through. And that's how I got into it. Now, how I lost the weight, I went on a program with HCG, which is a hormone from female, pregnant women.
Mm-hmm.
And you inject yourself and you're on 550 calories a day for 6 weeks. And people are like, do you recommend that? And I tell them no. And they're like, it worked for you. Why don't you recommend it? The reason I don't recommend it is, number one, it's not sustainable. Number two, 90% of the people who lose weight that way gain it all back and some more. In fact, I have 6 friends and acquaintances that did that program. Every single one of them regained the weight except for me. The difference being I changed my lifestyle and eating habits. I started incorporating simple little changes, things we all know what to do, but we don't do it. For example, for your audience, drinking pure water instead of soda or diet soda is the easiest change you can make. 71% of the US adult population is overweight, of which 40% are clinically obese. 75% of the US population is chronically dehydrated, which means they're not drinking enough water. Well, there must be a correlation then. And what I found out in doing research, sometimes when you think you're hungry, you're actually thirsty. So if you drink more pure water, it keeps you satisfied longer and it helps your body and it keeps you hydrated basically. So that's important. The other thing I learned is we've been supersized for food portions without realizing it. For example, in the 1900s, the average size dinner plate was 9 inches in diameter. Today, it's 12 inches. In a restaurant, the serving sizes are 13 to 15 inches in diameter. So in Europe, it's still 9 inches. What I tell people is use a salad plate instead of a dinner size plate, and then eat slower. With today's society, we're all in a hurry. We're all rushed. We eat in our cars. We eat in front of our computers. We eat at work, at our desk. We don't take time to sit at a dining room table, a kitchen table, or a cafeteria and enjoy a meal. Instead, we gulp it down. So we consume a lot more calories than we really need to.
David, let me like jump back a second. When you were at 61, were you retired at that point?
Yes.
Okay, so you're retired. You're
retired,
61.
I'm 65 right now.
Okay, so you go into your doctor and he says, "Look, David, you're a ticking time bomb. 95% chance of having a heart attack. You've been probably successful through your life. Everything's great. Here you are looking to enjoy life a little bit more, and it may be gone in an instant." What now? There's a lot. I see a lot of patients, and it's the same thing. It's getting them to a point that it's like a slap in the face to say, "That's it. I draw the line." My dad. I was a junior at college in my undergrad. My dad died of a heart attack at age 50. And I remember that day, and I didn't understand health. I was studying health and phys ed at the time before chiropractic, but I said that day, I am not dying early of a heart attack. That's it. I drew a line in the sand. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I thought it was just with fitness. I didn't understand the whole health, every factor involved, but it was a mind change for me. And that's what it sounded like for you, is that day you clicked. And it snapped, and that's what put you on the journey. HCG or not, you would have found a way because you were determined. Any advice on getting the community to get that click? I mean, you've been there. What made it for you? Was it the fear of that? Because a lot of other patients are probably, or community members are facing the same track, yet they're not going to make a change.
That was it. It was the fear of dying. I have a lot I want to do. I tell people I accomplished in 4 months what I could have done the previous 8 years. I made excuses. I procrastinated. Wait till after the holidays, after the company picnic. On Monday, I'll start. I'll start after our vacation. I'll start after we go to dinner with friends. It was one excuse after another. You get to a point where I say in the book, tomorrow never comes. And if tomorrow never comes and we say we're going to do tomorrow what we can do today, that means we're not going to do what we can do. And that's where it comes into. It's a mindset. It's a commitment. I have a couple high school classmates who have reached out to me who've been successful in reducing weight. One dropped 45 pounds in 5 months, and her goal was 30. Her body told her she needed to lose more. When I talked to her, she was saying to me, I'm thinking about dying and finishing out life, and you're talking about climbing Kilimanjaro at age 90. You're go to Rocky Point where with your wife, you're doing this. And she goes, I got to change my attitude.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And she changed her mindset. Instead of thinking about dying, she started thinking about living what she wanted to do. And she was always on a yo-yo diet. She would do the cabbage soup diet every year, and she'd always win because she gained the weight right back. And then she'd lose it. And I said, you're not doing it this year. And so she's gone about 3 years now and has kept the weight off. Another friend reached out to me, and he's dropped 60 pounds and has kept it off for the last 2 years. And again, he got to a point where he couldn't move. He wanted to be active with his kids and grandkids. And so he made a lifestyle change. It's things where you can enjoy the food that's healthy for you. What I tell people is the food is good for you, keep eating it. If it's not, get rid of it. Find something to substitute, reduce, and then eliminate it. For example, a lot of food today is processed and scientifically engineered to be addictive and deadly. They turn us into food junkies. In 1990s, the average grocery store had about 9,000, 15,000 products. Today, it's over 50,000.
Wow.
Now, I don't know about you, Aaron, but during that time period, I haven't heard that many new fruits, nuts, berries, or vegetables being discovered. What I do see is different flavors of Pringles potato chips and
Right.
Doritos and Cheetos. And when you look at the ingredients and the chemicals in there, you realize it's no longer food. It's a food product. And just because the government tells you it's safe to eat doesn't mean it is. It may be legal, but it's not safe. For example, diet soda, I get the argument with clients all the time. It's 0 calories. How does that cause weight gain? Well, it has aspartame. Aspartame has 92 known side effects. One of them is weight gain. The reason being, the aspartame inhibits your body from absorbing vitamins, minerals, and nutrients. So you put your body in starvation mode because you're not giving it the right fuel. Also, aspartame increases your cravings for sweetness. So now you're craving simple carbohydrates, sugars, and now you're going to go eat more. And you're not drinking enough water. So you think you're hungry when you're actually thirsty. So even though it's 0 calories, it's not healthy for you. And that's the difference. And there's a difference in calories. An apple has 95 calories. It takes your body 25 calories to digest it. A Hershey bar, 125 calories. 0 calories to digest it. That's 125 calories of empty calories, no nutritional benefit, other than it makes you feel good and it's a comfort food. So this is what I explain to people is, look, let's find other ways to address the underlying issues. Are you really hungry or are you thirsty? Why are you eating certain things? For example, had a client, she was doing great for the first couple of weeks on changing her eating habits and what she was eating. And then I talked to her and she said she went out for dinner with some friends and her husband, they had pulled pork sandwiches. I said, why would you do that? And she says, well, I wanted to treat myself and I wanted to enjoy, we were friends. I said, how committed are you to reducing the weight? And she says, well, I'm very committed. I said, well, your actions are speaking differently than what you're telling me. If you were that committed, wasn't there something else on the menu you can eat? And she goes, well, yeah, now that you mention it. So that's where it gets to the point of what is your level of commitment? People say they want to do something. We all have the desire to do something. It's when you make that commitment that can keep you focused. And that's what we talk about in the book and what I help people through.
I love that. And I think, you know, if you're listening out there saying, oh, I just want to be committed like David, I wish I could do that. You can, but you have to get it. You have to speak it, say it. You have to start working towards your mind before you start changing what goes into your mouth. David made a commitment. He got scared. He saw his life just going to fade away. All the years he put into work and studying. So you may not be like an attorney that's going to dive in and start studying all the facts. He's done it for you. Just get his book, do his program. But if you can start to work on your mind and you make that click, just like what happened with David, you're going to start seeing the results, because then it will be, you have to do it. There's no, you'll make the commitment change. I love the one saying you have. So what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? And that's just the book. If not now, when? When you have the heart attack? Well, I remember reading a statistic that the first-time heart attacks, 50% of those first-time heart attack people die. You don't get a second chance. 50%. Even if it were 25%, that's crazy. So, and I always tell my patients, I still, at 54, I'm still active. I still play rugby. I'm just a guy, I like doing things. I like to be involved. And I say it's a lot better in the game, even if you get beat up, than sitting on the sideline watching. It's no fun. So let's dive into. I mean, you've already dropped a ton of bombs here with just dehydration, water. As you're sitting here, I always have a big jug of water I'm drinking. Water is one of those things we can all do, and if you don't do water, you're never going to succeed full term. You'll never get 100% optimal health ever. It's a simple thing. Some of the food choices. So let me ask you this before we dive into like real specifics, and let's get into your program and what they can, like your book and your program. But what do you think the hardest part about losing weight? I mean, these people are stuck and you hear it, they go round and round, 90 to 95%. Like I've read that statistic that people regain their weight because they don't make a click in their mind. They don't change their lifestyle. They just do a diet. And then they have to go back. They always ask me, Doc, what do you eat? I'm like, I eat the same thing I'm telling you, what you're saying, fruits and vegetables and water. It's like, I don't eat anything different. What do you think the hardest part about losing weight? If they can identify that, maybe we can push them forward.
Getting started, making a commitment. The other thing is, when you say you're going to do something, there's a 50% chance you're going to succeed. When you declare it, say on social media, they found that there's about a 65%. When you have what they call an accountability partner or a success buddy, somebody you have to report to once a week, even if it's only 5 or 10 minutes, your success rate goes up to 95%.
Wow.
So imagine having a 95% success rate. The other thing is, a lot of people know what to do. They don't know how to do it. And that's what I teach people. Well, how do you drink more water? I know I'm supposed to drink more water. One of the little things they can do is keep a little tab, a sheet of paper, and check off what they drink. Now, one of the clients from high school, she was saying she was drinking 8 bottles of water a day, but she was thirsty still. And I said, are you sure you're drinking all 8 bottles? Something doesn't sound right. Well, what she was finding was she was finding half bottles in different places where she would leave them and think she had drank all of them when she hadn't. So little things like that can make a difference where you're thinking you're drinking water. I drink water room temperature without ice. When you drink ice water, it's harder on your system, in my opinion at least. The other thing is when you're drinking a glass of ice water, usually it's half to 3/4 of ice, so you're only drinking half a glass of water at the most. My wife likes her water with ice in it. We go to restaurants, I'll drink 2 or 3 full glasses of water. She'll be sipping on her glass, and she said, well, I drank my glass of water. I said, no, it's half full of ice. You only drank half a glass of water. Little things like that. Also think in positive terms. 80% of our thoughts are negative each day. And they say in research, we have the same thoughts 90% of the time, day in and day out. Well, imagine if you turned your thoughts from being 80% negative to 80% positive. It'd make a big difference. So for example, when you say, I want to lose weight, that's not the right approach. What you want to say is, I want to make better food choice decisions. I want to eat healthier. What does it mean to eat healthier? It means different things to different people. If you eat a salad, some people think that's healthy. It's not when you add in the salad dressing, the fats, the nuts, and all the other things people put on a salad. Salads can have as much as 1,500 to 2,000 calories. You only need 1,250 to 1,750 calories a day. Most people, the average American, will eat 3,600 calories per day. And on the nutritional fact labels that people ignore, it's based on 2,000 calories a day. So again, if you start looking at different things and start choosing healthier choices, have an apple, have blueberries, strawberries, frozen strawberries are great instead of ice cream to snack on at night. See how many hours you're watching TV. People don't realize how many hours they're actually watching TV. They say people have an increase for carbohydrates and sugars and high saturated fat foods because of TV. So read a book, go for a walk, do something other, play games with your family. do something other than watch the boob tube, which has a lot of commercials, which subliminal messages about fast food, all sorts of stuff. The main reason we are overweight today, I used to think, was stress. I've since changed my opinion. It's no longer stress. It's convenience. It's easier to go through the drive-through to get dinner or lunch or breakfast or Starbucks. It's easier to order a pizza to be picked up or delivered. It's easier to get a microwavable frozen meal and pop it in the microwave, or open a package and throw it in the pot and cook it, than it is to prepare a fresh meal. When people take the time to actually buy fresh ingredients and then take about 5 or 10 minutes to prepare a meal, it's much cheaper, it's healthier for you, and it's a lot less complicated than people think. It doesn't take as much time or effort once you get into the routine and habit of doing it. So that's what we want to make, small adjustments that if you do consistently, positive small adjustments done consistently over a long period of time, will give you noticeable and lasting results. People are inundated with lose 15 to 20 pounds on this program or that program in a month. It's not realistic, and it's not sustainable. Diets are extreme, they're hard to stick with, and they're usually temporary. What I equate it to is a marathon. It's a lifestyle. So you're running a marathon without a finish line. You just keep going. A diet is a sprint. There's a finish line. When people reach a certain goal for an anniversary, a high school reunion, a wedding, whatever the special event is, they revert back to old eating habits. And then they gain the weight back. So you want to change your lifestyle based on your likes and dislikes so you enjoy it. Another thing is, recent statistic I read was if you're 50 or older, 80% probability you're either a type 2 diabetic or pre-diabetic. 80%. I was blown away. That's the number one thing I talk to friends is they don't want to be diagnosed with being a type 2 diabetic. They'll call me and say, I'm borderline, what can I do? And they'll start making changes. Sometimes they're serious, sometimes they're not. And then inevitably a month or two later, I'll get the call, well, I'm now a type 2 diabetic. I need your help. So I want to help people be preventative before you get there. And that is reversible. But why go through the mental anguish and the aggravation when you can start now? It's amazing the people I've helped, how much energy they have, how much they feel better, they look better, how more active they are. The more weight you lose, the more you want to do. You want to become involved and engaged in things. So that's why it's important for me to help people.
And it's amazing, just the energy alone. When you shed 25, 40, 50 pounds, imagine carrying that sack on your back all day. I have 5 kids, and when they were little, we would go to a park, I'd throw them on my back, and I was in shape. I work out, but it gets tiring. At the end of the day, I'm pooped. They had fun because they got a free ride on my shoulders. But if I had to do that day in and day out, it would ruin me. I love what you were saying about convenient. Because I always thought, why do they just keep going to don't they know how dangerous these foods are and how destructive they are? So habits take about 21 days to begin a change and about 63 days to lock in, where the physiology, the nerve system, the body actually starts connecting. So they're sitting at home, they're listening, or maybe they're in their car and they're saying, wow, David, here I am pulling through McDonald's and I'm listening to you. Crap. I got to go home and make meals. Let's say they haven't. What did you begin to do to make this change? Because that's in their mind, they're looking at it as they're going to have to spend an hour chopping vegetables and making homemade soup and finding recipes and putting herbs in. And it just sounds like it's hours worth of work. And you and I know it's not. But what are your tips there? Because I think if they can start seeing that little bit of light shed, that they say, you know what, I can do this. I can at least make a salad. I can at least take a lunch. What did you do? And what do you tell your clients to get started with making home meals, instead of being convenient, hitting that fast food?
Well, the easiest part is if you like eggs and you don't have time to make eggs in the morning for yourself, hard boil some eggs and keep them in the refrigerator so you can have them ready to go and eat it in the car if you want while you're on the move for a quick breakfast.
Boom.
So An avocado, I eat right out of the shell. I don't, put anything into it. It only takes a few minutes to eat an avocado. Avocado and a couple hard-boiled eggs, that's a great meal right there. And with the water, here's a tip for your audience. First thing in the morning, drink 8 to 16 ounces of water right away. And then have another 8 to 16 ounces mid-morning. Have another 8 to 16 ounces of water before you eat lunch. Another glass mid-afternoon and 2 glasses with dinner or before dinner. And then you've got plenty of hydration there. The question people ask is, how much water should I drink? It varies from person to person. If you listen to one expert, they'll say 64 ounces minimum. If you listen to another expert, they'll say 1/2 of your body weight. Well, if you're 400 pounds, that's 200 ounces of water. That's unrealistic. So I tell people anywhere between 64 ounces and 120 ounces is good. It's based on your preference and what you're doing. If you're active, drink more water. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm in the desert. We have to drink water. Otherwise, you get dehydrated. People, in different states and different parts of the country where it's cooler, don't realize that sometimes they need to drink water because they don't feel they're thirsty. They think they're hungry. Another thing that you can do for a quick meal. Oh, and I want to get back to the eggs. Cage-free eggs, even if they're organic, doesn't mean they're healthy for you. If it says that they have special feed or special grain, you should avoid it because 90% of the time, it's where they use corn and soy for the grain. So the hens are eating it. What you want is pasture eggs where the hens are free to roam and they forage for their food. So they're eating bugs and worms and grass as opposed to the corn and soy. So people who think they're gluten-free actually aren't if they're eating the wrong type of eggs. And people don't know that. They see cage-free or organic and think, oh, it's healthy for me. So I read labels. So that's what I teach people. So that's one thing you can do. Have an apple. I like tuna fish, and I like it plain. I'm weird. My wife says, she likes to have hers with, different things, the mayonnaise and everything else, and a tuna salad. I eat it right out of the can. And again, can of tuna, you have to look at the labels. If you read the labels on the front of the can, it'll say packed in water. If you turn it over on the back, it'll say tuna, water, vegetable broth, and sometimes sodium. Well, what's in the vegetable broth? They can have 168 different elements in there without disclosing it. I found 2 brands, the Kierland brand and Chicken of the Sea at Costco, that says tuna and water and sea salt. That's it. So again, what's in that vegetable broth that you're eating? So, a can of tuna is easy. They have the pop lids. You can just pop it in with a fork. Breads, you got to be very careful of. I recommend the Ezekiel bread because it's a whole grain. It's not processed food. It will last 2 weeks in the refrigerator. If you get the regular store-bought breads, they can last 3, 4, 5 months on the shelf. It's all full of preservatives and chemicals. And there's a difference between a whole grain and a multigrain. If it's not a whole grain, that means it's been processed. So multigrain doesn't necessarily mean whole grain. This is where I educate people. This is where I teach people there's a difference. Now, I'm not saying you have to be a purist. I'm not. I'm just saying instead of eating the whole piece of chocolate cake at one time like I used to, I'll have a couple of bites and it'll last me 4 or 5 nights. Instead of having, a piece of pecan pie, I'll have a slice of pecan pie. So again, I'm not saying you cannot enjoy yourself. Now, I do have certain rules and restrictions. I call my food core values. And one of those is I will not drink soda or diet soda. I haven't had that since July of 2016. No exceptions. I had a boss that told me if you make an exception, it generally becomes the rule. And that's what happened with gaining the weight. I started making exceptions. Oh, the McDonald's won't hurt me, or the slice of pizza won't hurt me. I'll do this and that. The other thing is I would eat a whole canister of Pringles potato chips. At one sitting, still want more. It was until I started researching and realized it's called the bliss point. It's a term coined by Howard Moskowitz, who was employed by the food industry for 30 years to scientifically engineer our food to optimize our cravings for fat, sugar, salt, and texture. So they're chemically engineering your food so that you're never satisfied and it's unhealthy for you. I just posted on Facebook the other day that doesn't matter how much exercise you do, what vitamin you take or what supplements you take, it will not undo the damage to your body that you're eating the Doritos or the Cheetos or the potato chips. So why do it? You know, the Chips Ahoy are addicting, and people will mindlessly eat in front of the TV or while they're driving or while they're working, they'll go through the whole bag and not realize it. So I tell people, pay attention. One little tip I do is I like the raw almonds and raw walnuts and unsalted pistachios. I actually count out 7 to 10 of each. And then I make it a game of how slow I can eat it. I had one client, he took a gulp. You know, he says, I had a couple peanuts. I said, well, how much? A couple handfuls. I said, a couple handfuls? I said, it's about 100 calories per handful. I said, count out, you know, and don't eat the peanuts. The peanut's a legume. It's not even a nut. So, you know, count out the raw almonds or the raw walnuts or the pistachios or even cashews, as long as it's raw and unsalted. And again, make it a game of how slow you can eat it. Start getting in the habit of eating slower. Put your fork down between bites. I used to shovel my food in. I was a very fast eater. So if I can make the change, anybody else can. It's just a matter of choosing to do it.
Yeah, and that's that conscious effort that says, I have to do this. I love you're a hardcore guy eating tuna right out of the can. I'll bring sardines to work, and they make me go out in the parking lot to eat them. They're like, you can't eat these in here. It stinks up the office. They're like, how do you eat that stuff? And I said, because it's healthy. It's an easy thing. But I love, and maybe we can just dive into this a little bit. You mentioned when, you know, to start eating an avocado, eggs, raw nuts. You mentioned that several times instead of a Snickers bar, instead of a sandwich. And I know why. Tell the listeners why. I mean, what are these food? Why are these foods so healthy? And when you get these foods, it sustains your energy that you don't crave. And if you don't have these type of foods and you give yourself non-nourishment food like a Snickers bar or some French fries, bam, within a half hour, or bowl of cereal, you're starving. I loved how you said that. I picked up on that. I'm like, I do the same thing. So why?
Well, avocados are a healthy fat. So it's good for your body because then your body starts burning fat instead of muscle. There's a difference in fats. There's trans fats, there's monosaturated, polysaturated. There's hydrogenated oil, which is what French fries are cooked in, which is unhealthy for you. So there's different types of fat. One of the things I get upset with keto, I don't like the keto diet. It's one of the most popular ones out there now, if not the most popular. And they tell you to eat a lot of bacon or, meats. Well, Dr. Michael Pollan and Dr. David L. Katz, they say the simple solution to eating healthy and losing weight is eat mostly plant-based. So it's not all, but mostly. Not too much. Drink lots of water. Get plenty of rest. And that's common sense stuff, but we don't do it. On the other diet, the keto diet, they tell you to eat the bacon, the deli meats, which are loaded with the nitrates and the sodium. So there's different types of fats. So people need to learn the difference between a healthy fat, which your body needs, and an unhealthy fat. Wild-caught salmon is a very healthy fat. It's got the omega-3s in it. Farm-raised salmon is very unhealthy for you. People need to look at the store and see which is farm-raised and wild-caught, because there's a difference. And if you saw what is in the wild-caught versus what's in the farm-raised, you would never touch farm-raised. I just won't do it. Dr. Bob Martin, I listen to him occasionally on his radio show. I love him. And he says, if you knew what I knew, you would do what I do. And he also has another saying, it's your body. If you wear it out, where else are you going to live? And that's how I look at it is, people look at me and I say, yeah, in 25 years, I want to go climb Kilimanjaro to the summit and set the record. And they're thinking, what, 90? You're going to, well, it's a goal. I'm in training now for it. That's how I look at it. I go hiking. I'm able to do things and participate like yourself. And people, when they start doing that, they feel better. So I think I got off on a tangent a little bit, but
No,
there's
you covered that great, and I don't mean to cut you off, but the long-term goals, what you're saying about food, and if when you're listening to this, thinking, well, it's just one fish, it's just one salmon from the farm. How bad can it be? It's just one donut. And the one donut is not going to do it. The one bad fish is not going to do it. It's the 5 years, the 10 years, the 20 years. And that's where David's saying that he can help people with diabetes, because when you start to eat this way, your sugar just drops. It drops very quick. But if you continue to, well, it's just a donut. When I consult patients, I'll say to them, well, what do you eat during the day? I just have a little bit of carbs. And when they write out what they did, they started with sugar breakfast, cereal, a sandwich, bread, toast, some snack, and there was no protein, there was no vegetables, there was nothing but carbs all day. And then they realized, and then they ended the night with beer, which is more carbs. And they're wondering why they're 100 pounds overweight and they're no energy. Can you do this? I'm real curious. I get a lot of questions like, what do I do at night? When do I stop eating? Should I stop eating at 6? Should I stop eating, at 8? And what if I snack? What do I do? What's your advice there? I think this is a big dilemma for people. Like you said, we get done with the day, we sit in front of the TV, we grab a bowl of something, and 400 or 500 calories with a thing of Pepsi or Diet Pepsi. That's just poison. We poison our body and then we go to sleep. To wake up thinking we're going to feel refreshed, it's crazy. So what's your advice on closing the night out?
Well, I'm going to answer that question. First, I want to get back to the breakfast issue a little bit.
Yeah.
People think orange juice is healthy when it's not. And the reason being is it takes 4 to 8 medium-sized oranges to make a glass of orange juice. And they take out the fiber. Even if it has pulp, it's still not good for you. And then they fortify it or enrich it with vitamins. It's still not bioavailable to your body. What I ask people is, would you eat 4 to 8 oranges at one sitting? And most of the time they'll say, well, no. Well, then why are you drinking a glass of orange juice that has 4 to 8 oranges of sugar and simple carbohydrates in it? It's not healthy for you. People are misled thinking, oh, it's healthy for me. It's not. And then I'll have it with bagel and cream cheese. Like you said, simple morning. So getting back to your question about what to do after dinner. There are a lot of people that will say, do not eat after 6 o'clock. Do not eat after 7 o'clock. They have hard and fast rules. I do not. I say stop eating 3 hours before you go to sleep. The reason I say that is we all have different work schedules. We have different obligations. If you work the night shift, it's hard to stop eating at 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening, or if you get home at 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening. So you may stay up till 10 or 11 o'clock. So what I recommend is stop eating 3 hours before you go to bed. If you're going to have a snack, then I eat the raw, unprocessed cheese as a snack because it's protein and it's good for you. If you don't want to get the raw cheese, have a slice of cheese. Have some frozen blueberries, frozen strawberries, some fresh raspberries or blackberries. When I make a salad at night, I throw in some of the mixed greens with some spinach in there, some blueberries, some blackberries, raspberries, some chopped walnuts, maybe once in a while some feta cheese, maybe a piece of grilled chicken. And that's a great salad. If you don't have time to cook the chicken, grill the chicken a night or two before, even bake it, keep it in the refrigerator, and you can slice it up and throw it in a salad. It takes you 5 minutes to make a healthy salad like that for a dinner. So when you tell me you don't have time, it takes you 10, 15, 20 minutes to go through a drive-through at McDonald's. In that time, you could have been home preparing your meal. It's, again, choices. Stop making excuses.
Yeah.
Show me results, What's important to you? When you get your priorities set straight, things start falling into place. And you have to be able to say no to people and say, no, this is, what's important to me. In the book, I go through what to tell people during the holidays when they've gone through the expense and the time to make, holiday meals, or what you can say to people. thanking them for taking the time and effort, but helping them understand that this is a process you're going through and that you appreciate their support of you. So this way, it's a nice way of saying thank you, but no thank you. And I have an expression, it looks better on you than me, or better in the trash than my ass. So little things like that, you know, got to add some humor to it. And again, if you slip and fall back, don't beat yourself up. Just keep moving forward. That was a famous quote from Walt Disney, is we keep moving forward. It's pick yourself up. And that's what Vince Lombardi says. You know, it's not perfect. It's not practice that makes perfect. It's perfect practice that makes perfect. And so just strive to improve yourself each day. An excellent book, there's two of them I'd recommend. The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, which talks about the small, seemingly inconsequential positive changes that you do that will have noticeable results over a long period of time. It also has the reverse effect. If you start eating all these bad foods in your 20s, 30s, and 40s, when you get to be our age, then it starts compounding and you don't realize the damage done to your body, where you can start earlier and start reversing that trend. The other is Charles Duhigg, The Power of Habit. And he talks about in there, like you were saying, at 3 o'clock, he would go down to the cafeteria, get 2 chocolate chip cookies, and then go socialize with his coworkers for 10, 15 minutes. Well, what he started realizing is it wasn't the cookies that he was looking forward to, it was socializing with the coworkers. So he modified his habit and changed it to eliminate the cookies and just talking to his friends. He dropped like 30 pounds in a couple of months just by making that one little change. And again, people have to be patient. When your body starts losing weight, I'll have people say, well, I haven't seen any results. I've only lost 2 or 3 pounds, in a week or two. What's going on? You've got to give your body time to adapt to the new changes. Also, you'll hit that weight plateau. So after 3, 4 weeks, you may not shed a couple pounds for a couple weeks. Realize it's your body adjusting to the new weight. That's where people get frustrated and they stop and they go back to their old habits saying it's not working. If you push through that and you keep going, all of a sudden you start seeing your body will drop 4 or 5 pounds in a day or two. You're like, well, what happened? Well, your body got to the point where it can release it. Our bodies are made for survival. So if you deprive it of enough nutritional value and you're starving yourself by not giving enough calories, then it's going to fight like hell to retain it. If you're giving it the nutritional value it needs, then it's willing to release that and eat the healthy fats, not the bad fats. So you need to learn the difference between the two. It's little things like that.
And there may be some people out there listening going, wow, there's so much to dive into. And this never ends. This journey never ends. I've been studying health almost my entire life. I just loved health. And the more I learn, there's a lot to learn. But I keep it simple. I keep my foundation good, my foundation strong, and majority of the food I eat is healthy. And I'll tell you, you can eat a little sliver of cake and you can get away with it. As soon as my lips touch that, I'm compulsive. I want the whole darn thing. I'm like, dang it, why did I do that? But then the other side flips. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go train for an hour and play rugby this weekend. So it's like I'm more compulsive. So if you have David's personality, you can get away with a little slice. Do it. If you're like me, you got to try to avoid those things only for those special times, or I limit it to weekends or stuff like that.
I agree with you, Aaron. I agree with you 100%. I cannot touch a Hershey bar or Pringles or M&Ms or Snickers. I haven't had that since July of 2016. I'm addicted to it. I'm a chocoholic. I know if I start, I won't stop. I compare it to be similar to an alcoholic.
Yep.
You just cannot make that exception if you know that's what it's going to do to you.
Yeah.
If people want to find out more information, they can go to my website. I can give that out.
Yeah, and we'll have that all linked up. And what I'd like to do is spend a few minutes on your program, your Thinner Self Weight Loss Program. You've written a few books. You have a program. You teach clients this. If they go to your website, and folks, this is all going to be on the page. You can just go down, click, and you'll go right to his page. You can find out about David and his journey, his website, and his programs. Why don't you take a few minutes? Let's end with wrapping this up with, tell them about your program and about what you do if people wanted to seek you out.
Okay, first they can go to createyourthinnerself.com and the other links that you'll have. I have a 3-week program. I call 3 weeks to a new you. It's 21 days, and each day you get a 3 to 5 minute video, which gives you a new eating principle, a new habit you can start. When we start, day one, first going through and asking questions of what you eat, where you eat, why you eat, how much you're eating, and figure out a starting point. And then day 2, we talk about drinking the water. And then each day after that, we go forward. I give a lot of information about changing your mindset. I do affirmations and declarations for people that they can repeat. They find that the words are very powerful, so we have information on that. Again, it's 21 days at your own pace. If you miss a day or two, you can catch up real quickly. But after the 21 days, hopefully it establishes new patterns for you. And even if you incorporate just 2 or 3 of them, what you're learning, give it enough time, you'll start seeing noticeable results. It's very affordable. It's inexpensive. There's no extra meals or supplements or products they have to order. There's no exercise program they have to follow. They do not have to count calories. I do talk about a food journal. And what they found is if you just keep track 1 day a week, not even every day, of what you're eating, people started making positive changes based on what they were seeing just doing 1 day. So if you do a couple of days a week of monitoring your food, you start seeing patterns and correlations, and then you can start making adjustments. So that's what we teach people. Again, it's 21 days, 3 weeks, and then you can start making these lifestyle changes that are permanent. And again, we talk about being patient and giving yourself time. And then what I ask people is, would you like to weigh 20, 30, 40 pounds lighter by this time next year? Well, everybody says yes. Well, if you can lose 2, 3, 4 pounds a month, not a week, in a month, most people say, yeah, I can do that. Okay, so it's very doable. If you do that consistently for 12 consecutive months, you're 24 to 48 pounds lighter by this time next year. The biggest regret people have is not starting a year earlier. Mm-hmm. So start today. That's my best advice. When you ask what's the most difficult thing, it's getting started and making that commitment.
Yeah, and you talked about, it's affordable. Health, I always tell my patients, look, if you don't work towards your health, if you don't spend money on your health, if you don't get up every day, because when I work out, I work out about 5 days a week, and we train on the weekends for rugby. They're like, well, you like doing that. I'm like, I really don't. I mean, it hurts to train. And have had a lot of injuries. To do a bunch of push-ups and sit-ups and run and sprint, and I have a farm that I'm busy with. It would be a lot easier to sit on my couch and watch a show. But I love how I feel. And if we can if you invest in your health, you'll never lose. You never lose money because you're investing back in your health. By you doing what you did, even going through the HCG, and that's not, I agree with you. I wouldn't recommend that either. But by doing that, it saved your life. I mean, you could have been days, weeks, months away from a heart attack, and you're gone, puff in the air. Oh, he was a nice guy. He was a nice attorney. Boy, he was a fine guy. Like, who cares? You're dead. It's like, invest in yourself. And I always say, look, a few $100s, a few $1,000s, whatever they want to spend on their health. If they don't spend on their health, they're going to waste it on junk. They're going to waste it on fast food, a new washing machine, stupid things. So invest in yourself. So,
well, the worst part is they're going to be spending it on medical expenses and doctor bills. And
absolutely.
It's like the Fram oil commercial. You can pay me a little now to do it right, or you can pay me a whole lot later to do it. Yeah. When I have to fix it. The other thing is, when I was in my 20s and 30s, I was working out with guys in their 60s, 50s, 60s, professional businessmen. And I never understood, they kept saying, when you're my age, you'll understand. And now I understand, because I went through gaining the weight. I understand the frustration of how hard it is and the struggles people go through to shed the weight. And so that's why I'm here to help. I'm not in my 20s and 30s anymore. I'm not, working out all the time. People look at me and say, well, how often do you work out? Or what do you do for your workout? Where do you go? I do it in my house. I do about 40 push-ups a day. I built up to it. It takes me a couple minutes. I raise my legs up on a milk carton. And then I do some squats. I go for a hike, maybe 30, 40 minutes. People can go for a walk. Again, I built up to it. We were talking about carrying weight. Two things I like to say about that. Grab 2 1-gallon jugs of water. They weigh about 7.5 pounds each, and carry around for about 20 minutes. And then put it down. That's 15 pounds of extra weight you're carrying around. When I lost my weight, before I lost it, I would go hiking at Pinnacle Peak, and I'd have to stop. It's about 3.5 miles round trip, and people would pass me. After I lost the weight, went back out there, I didn't stop, and I was passing people. I thought, wow, what a difference. The other thing is I had a 20-pound weight vest, and I was going to wear it. And a friend says, you just lost all this weight. Why would you put it back on? I thought about it. I said, well, yeah, that makes good sense. So, carry the water jugs, one in each hand, or a 10-pound dumbbell. That's what you're doing to your body. When you got that extra weight, you don't realize how much extra pressure you're putting on your knees, your back, and everything else. When I shed the weight, I feel great now. I don't have, my knees don't ache anymore. I don't have the back issues I used to have. So, you understand as a chiropractor, that has a big significance in helping people.
Yeah, I once read a statistic that for every 10 pounds of upper body weight, you have about a 4-to-1 response. You have a 40 pound of lower back disc pressure from that 10 pounds. So you take 50 pounds times 4, that's 200 pounds of disc pressure. No wonder our discs in our back are killing us. And then when it gets to that point, we say, well, David, I can't go for a walk. I'm in so much pain. Or they come into my office and they just want to be adjusted. And I said, you got to shed some weight. You got to get this life transformation. I love what you said. I agree with you. And I see this as an epidemic, and this is a great problem in our society. You've done a great job with your program and teaching people, and with the whole investment. I always said too, it's a lot harder to walk around in a wheelchair or a walker all day than to go to the gym for 30 minutes and eat a salad.
Well, the other thing is I tell people 90% of weight loss is what you put in your mouth. Once you start, like you said, once you start shedding the weight, you'll have more energy to start the walks, to start doing a little bit more. And again, the other part of what I do with my routine is I have 20 and 25 pound dumbbells. I just do a couple presses and curls with them. Takes a couple minutes. I spend about 5 to 7 minutes a day as far as maintaining my fitness, other than when I go for my walks. So by the time someone has to drive to the gym, if they don't want to do that, they don't like to do what you're doing, I'm done with my exercise and I have left the house and I've saved some money. The other thing is with the eating program that we teach people on eating the foods they like that are healthy for them, they'll save money. When you think about a Starbucks costing $5, $6, $7 for one drink, and most of them will have 71 grams of sugar in it, you only need 50 grams of sugar in an entire day. People are getting that more in one drink than they need for the entire day. And some people have 2 or 3 of those a day. If you're spending that much money on a Starbucks, you can go get a carton of pasture eggs for $5 or $6. Spend the extra money instead of the cheap eggs that are full of, special chemicals, for the hens. And you're saving money. And again, if you go to a restaurant, eat out, get a to-go box right away. Cut it in half and only eat half of the portion. Now you're saving money because you get 2 meals for the price of one. Or share a meal with someone at the restaurant.
That's a
So,
great tip. Get in the box ahead of time. I always say too, when we go and they say, "Would you like some bread?" I'm like, "No, no, don't even bring it, because if you bring it, I want it." I'm not. They're like, "You have good willpower." I'm like, "I don't have great willpower. I just have good habits." And I know, like, you're coming up with these. They're like tricks. It's like, just drink water all day. You're not as hungry. Eat fats. You're not as hungry. So when you develop a plan like you have, it's easier. It's not easy. It's easier, because I'm sure you struggle all the time because there's food around us. But yeah, I love what, and I don't go to the gym either. I have a gym in my basement in my barn because I hate wasting time. I walk over, it takes about 20 seconds to walk to my barn. I go in, I pound it out, and then I'm done. So, but I agree. We have a program. I would always tell people, just do 8 minutes a day and exercise. You don't need hours. If you're in there for hours, you're killing yourself. It's stupid.
yeah.
So I'm going to have a couple quick questions for you. Just take like a minute to answer these, just for fun. And then we'll wrap it up, and we'll make sure that all the listeners out there, you have all David's resources. This is a great show. So what was one thing that you never expected on this journey? By the time you had that confrontation with the doctor, the consult with the doctor, and he says, "Look, you're gonna drop over. You're gonna have a heart attack," to where you are now. Was there one thing you just never expected?
I never expected to write 2 books and share my journey with people and experience, and want to be helping other people avoid the risk of what I went through and the emotional trauma. I mean, unfortunately, a friend and I were talking, and he said, how many people would rather eat the junk food and not give up their lifestyle and worry about the medical consequences or even death? And I said, I hadn't thought about it. Well, I started researching that on his suggestion. And I learned that there are a lot of people would rather keep eating what they're eating and enjoy themselves and have a shorter life than be able to change their eating habits, have a more enjoyable life, be more active, and they'd rather even face the medical consequences or death than change. That surprised me. That shocked me.
Yeah, it shocks me every day too. I don't get it, but that's why you're doing this, and I'm glad you are, because we're going to make a difference. There's going to be people listen to this and change, and it's going to save their life. I just wish somebody would have been there for my dad to explain to him
Yeah.
before because he didn't know. He took drugs, had surgery, and boom. Um, any crazy fun plans for the future? You're out there in the desert. Anything fun that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to climbing Mount Kilimanjaro.
I love it.
I want to do it at age 90, and I'll probably do it a couple times before that. I'm thinking about maybe doing it next year or the year after. But that's what my fun is, going hiking. I'm blessed to be in an area where there's a lot of trails in Arizona, and the weather's great. Some people think I'm a little bit crazy because I'll go out when it's 106, 110, 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'll see 1 or 2 other crazy people out there. But it's my quiet time. I get to think, and I'll go, maybe an hour, hour and a half. So I get in, 3, 4 miles basically. It's just my enjoyment.
Yeah, I love it. And I love the goal. That's a huge goal. And when I heard that earlier, I'm like, I love this guy. We were sitting around, I think over Thanksgiving last year, and I said, look and see who the oldest rugby player is, the active rugby player. I'm like, how old can the guy be? Well, he's 96. He's somewhere in like Europe or something. I'm like, son of a gun. I said, so if I want to break that record, I got to be 97. I said, so that's kind of like penciled in. I don't know if I really want to do that. I might change it, but you got to keep shooting for something. And just like you're climbing Mount Kilimanjaro when you're in your 90s, you've got a plan now. You can't wait till you're 87, and that's what you're doing. So I love it. Any other resources besides? I'm going to put down The Compound Effect and The Power of Habit. I've read both of those. Any other resources that you would like to share with the listeners?
Other than my book, If Not Now When, Reduce Weight, Create a Healthy Lifestyle.
We'll have
90
that
days.
on there too.
I've been getting a lot of compliments. People are reading are saying this is excellent. Dr. Friedman's Food Sanity book is excellent. Dr. David L. Katz, MD, why pandas eat plants or something like that. People get bamboozled. But his Dr. Katz's books, his book, it's very thick. It's probably about 900 pages. Now, probably one of the best books out there is the Blue Zone Kitchen. It's different than the Blue Zone diet book. The author has written a new one. It's called Blue Zone Kitchens. And that's an incredible book. And that describes what people eat who live into their 90s and 100s. And the thing is, they're healthy. Right. They're not in a wheelchair. They're not using walkers. There's Jack LaLanne was in his, I think, 90s before he passed, but he was very fit and active.
Yeah.
Paul Bragg was in his 90s, very fit and active. Ansel Keys lived to be over 100. He's the one that gave the misleading, inaccurate information about avoiding eggs, about eating margarine instead of butter. He was paid by those companies to alter. They found out that he did what he called the 7-country study. And they found out that he omitted 16 countries that contradicted his findings. They also found out he was paid by the sugar company to point the finger at the fats instead of the sugars. He lived into his hundreds, but they show pictures of him being in a wheelchair. I don't want to be in a wheelchair when I'm that age. I want to be active. I want to be like Jack LaLanne. I want to be like Paul Bragg, out there and being healthy. And so the lady I met, Ann, she was 89. She set the record for climbing Kilimanjaro. And I told her, I said, well, I'm going to do when I'm 90. And she said, why? I said, because most likely you won't be around. And her attitude was, don't bet on it. So,
I love it.
You know, that's the attitude I have is, you know, being positive, not dreading, you know, getting older, but looking forward to it.
I totally agree. And I tell my kids, I said, I'm going to whoop your butt in sports and play as long as I can. And my youngest is 16. I have 5 kids, 4 girls and a boy, and I'm still hanging. I'm still beating them in a lot of things. I'm trying to get them to catch me, but that keeps me going, but it's fun. Any last parting advice, any guidance that you'd like to send them off, a favorite quote or something you'd like to send them off with?
One of my favorite quotes is by Rick Pitino. Success is a choice. And we can make a choice. And there's so many quotes. I have about 2.5 pages as an appendix of favorite quotes in the book that are motivational. Another one is by George Washington. He said, "It is better to make no excuse than a poor one."
I love it.
So again, stop making excuses, stop justifying, stop making exceptions. Just make a commitment. Napoleon Hill said it's a burning desire. And when you make that commitment, not just I want to do something, but actually commit and then put it into action. And what I tell people is knowledge is not power. It's applied knowledge that's power. And you have to act. Learning something and not applying or implementing it does you no good. It's worthless. You can read my book. You can read other books out there. Right now, there's 50,000 books on Amazon on health, fitness, nutrition, weight loss diets. If you're not going to apply it, and again, who or what do you trust? There's a lot of misleading information out there. So I've sifted through a lot of them. I've probably read over 200 books that are available right now to see what people are saying. And so I just keep it, like you said, very basic, very simple. It doesn't have to be complicated.
No. And, anyone that's still on listening to the show, they're committed. They're committed to a certain level. So if you're listening, just say to yourself, I made it to the end. I'm committed. Now take an action step. And I love that. Don't excuses that they stink. Just stop it. Just get in the game. Let's play. And we all can play at different levels. But David, I appreciate you being on our show. I think your advice was just phenomenal. Your program, we're going to have everything connected. So folks, if you want to learn more about David, just go to the show notes, click, get in touch with him. Super nice guy. He'll help you. We want to transform your life. Not only make Pittsburgh healthy, but we want to make this world healthier. David, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it.